I can read everything.
And you can read anything. That's important because we're dealing with the inspector here and the editor. So I'm going to start my timer now. Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Corbett, and I am a gameplay programmer and level designer for PHL Collective, the local developer known for Ben 10 Power Trip, Goozy, Adam's Family, Mansion Mayhem, and the just recently announced Justice League game with a secret title that I can't tell you yet. So I live in Unity, pretty much. I'm always working on it, and there's all kinds of tips and tricks, and these are just a few of them that I'm going to talk about today. For today's 5-minute presentation, calling it Getting the Most Out of the Unity Editor, Project Organization, Search Methods, and Inspector Tricks. Before we get into some more specific interface tips, let's take a minute for a brief overview of helpful guidelines for project organization in Unity. This will vary from project to project and especially from team to team, so these thoughts are just my own personal preferences. The first organizational method is fairly standard. Group things by their asset type. Materials with materials. Scenes are kept with scenes, and so on. This is perfectly fine. However, in an alphabetical list, as you see here, things that might be related are kind of separated. So I'm an advocate for organizing these related assets into higher level categories. In a team environment, these folders might be analogous to departments. So if I make like an animation folder and drop my animation related stuff into that. Maybe I want to create a art folder for all of the art materials, art materials, models, sprites, textures, fonts, just drop it all in there. Keep it nice and clean. Code, we want to put, our scripts, shaders, drop those in there, and this can keep on going. If you're working with native audio in Unity, doing it live, drop those together, keep them kind of organized, and this can keep going. You can go design stuff, keep data, objects, inventory things, keep that together. But, that's just, just as a framework. However, let's get into some more specific tricks. Even with the best organization system, sometimes you don't want to dig through the folder hierarchy to find a specific thing like art, fonts, or materials, get that material, or you're lazy like me, you just want to go to the thing immediately. However, as you add more and more, files to a project, search can require a bit more filtering. In this demo project, I have different types of files with the same name or similar names. Like I have enemy materials, I have code for enemy controllers and enemy movement and stuff like that. If I just want to like find that immediately, there's the handy search bar here, enemy, and I get all of it. And say I have even more enemy stuff, and I want the scripts, you can use the T command, T:, I'm covering up, T:, and I search for script, and it will filter it just for scripts. I can use material, and it will just filter for any material named enemy, and I find this is really helpful if you have like a bunch of different related objects for like, here's a level and here's like music for that level, or here's, sprites for that level, or all kinds of things. You just get right to it. I am almost at 4 minutes, so I gotta keep on moving. Now for our next random thing. Some of you who have dealt with the inspector a lot. So there's every like 3D object or sprite has a transform, which is its position, rotation, scale, and you can type in numbers and like it'll go here. Like this is all based off the origin of the center of this little square here, but type -5, it shows up over here. I can actually do math operations in this, so I can do like +4, it'll end up at -1, stuff like that. This is kind of one of the early things you kind of learn in Unity, but recently I've discovered some even crazier tricks where you can type special commands, special expressions into the inspector. We're going to start with L here, and L, and I'm going to say -5, comma 5, and it distributes them between those values. So this one's -5, this one's -4 point whatever, -3 point whatever. You know, it's not exact because this is not exactly the right scale, but you know. So then you can, if you want to spread out a bunch of props, you can use that command, just spread it out. Another fun one, you can use the R command with like rotation, R, parentheses, and then I'm going to do 0, 360, and it just randomly sorts them, you know, or randomly gives them random rotations. So if you have a lot of props, a lot of rocks, or a lot of chairs, and you're just trying to like make it look like it's scattered, I'm over time, but I'm almost done. And you get really crazy with this. You can combine, you know, this length one, the L one, with more complicated stuff like cosine and sine and pi. And if I put cosine L 0 to 2 by times pi times 3 into x, and then sine into z, I get all my chairs in a circle. So just some random time-saving tricks that might help you in Unity if you're in Unity all the time. Any questions?
Yeah, witchcraft, exactly. I said it in chat, but I'll say it again. That like you mentioned that like, you know, understanding like being able to do basic math functions in the transform and in the inspector in general is something you learned pretty early on. I didn't know you could do that for years. No one teaches you that.
I mean, no one that one does teach. They don't teach you that, but it's, you know, maybe I picked it up early and I kind of was like, oh, I live by this. Like I'm constantly being like, you know, that, and also snapping to, you know, grid stuff by holding control and stuff. I have a lot of my own, like, I can't even verbalize them. I'm used to them, but you know.
Mostly working in 2D and pixel art, I use the snapping a lot.
Yeah. But it is helpful if you know, like, I have this object and it's like too high and I want it to be, you know, move it over like +2, and just, you know, you can even do ×5, obviously. Like if we could do cosine, we can do crazy stuff.
Right. Mark in the chat asked, would those L and R tricks work for any number-based serialized field?
Yes, these do work in any numeric field and not just transforms. It's just the easiest to demonstrate. I did find in my testing that it doesn't always honor like the order that you've selected these in. So like if you have some more timing based stuff that you're trying to spread out over that, you know, length, you know, you might have to do some adjustment after that. But if you're just trying to get like, oh, I want, you know, the number of values between, you know, 0 and 10, whatever, and you have like an odd number of objects, you know, this is really helpful for that. As you see, I have 11 chairs here. No, I have 12 chairs here, actually, because 0 index. But yeah, you can use any numeric field. As if you can do the ×5, you can do the, you know, the L and R. This is the fun one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow. It's just I love stuff like this. So this, again, the things you take for granted, and other people is like, I didn't even know you could do addition.
I just found this one like recently, like this L and R thing. I just found out very recently, but I've started using it. You know, I'm like for set dressing and stuff like that. Where I'm just like, I don't want to move all these chairs. Yeah.
That's
very cool.
But yeah, the random one is also really helpful. Just be like, oh, well, I don't want to rotate them, but I do want to place them in like maybe in a stack or something. But you know, having to like individually be like, you know, it's tedious. Yeah.
Well, Floyd says sooner or later a game dev will need to get a handle on trigonometry. No, I refuse.
Maybe if you're a in-depth physics programmer, definitely. You need to know physics, like high level math. I think these kind of things are helpful to more of the designer side that may not, you know,
Yeah.
be
Although I
dealing
would-
with like complicated math, you know.
Yeah. Although I will say I would not have been able to come up with the formula that you did there for the.
I will
the circle shares.
link, so I will reveal the wizard behind the curtain. I will post the links to the uni pages for all of these things so you can get handy references
Okay. Cool.
for all of this. So I did not come up with cosine L O2 pi, you know. I
Didn't
am-
invent that from scratch.
No, I did not.
It's brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Very cool.